do doomsday and soft drinks have in common? Plastic straws. At least according to California super legislator Ann Calderon. This past week, he introduced AB 1884, a bill that would stop sit-down restaurants from giving customers plastic straws unless they specifically request one. It's filed under the California Retail Food Code, which means any waiter who serves up a dastardly unrequested straw could face up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Man, that sucks!
Calderon's goal is to curb the detrimental effects of single-use straws that are woefully unrecycled. And jailing people for handing out straws is apparently way easier than, say, encouraging businesses to recycle them. Other fans of the measure include the LA Times, which endorsed it as a way to avoid the facial wrinkles caused by repetitive sucking. Neil deGrasse Tyson and that dude from Entourage also got slapped in the face by a fake octopus in support of the Stop Sucking campaign.
Let me see you move that body.
A few California cities have already adopted similar measures, and Manhattan Beach bans all disposable plastics. And Seattle won't allow any plastic straws or utensils starting in July, so you better save your sporks. Supporters of the law all cite the statistic that 500 million plastic straws are used every day. The figure comes from CNN, who got it from the National Park Service, who got it from recycling company EcoCycle, who says they got it from a researcher named Milo Kress, who actually got the number from phone surveys of straw manufacturers when he was just 9 years old. As in the single-digit number that comes before 10. Milo, now 16, is running his own anti-straw campaign with EcoCycle, which is, of course, sponsored by a number of stainless steel and glass straw manufacturers, as well as a random dog walking service. As for how many straws end up in waterways and landfills, no one actually really has an answer for that. The closest we have is the number of straws collected during California's Coastal Cleanup Day. Apparently someone has been counting them since 1988 and decided that straws make up 4% of all debris collected. It equals out to about 835,000 straws over 20 years, which really isn't that bad considering we supposedly use 500 million a day. Now, I don't math, but that doesn't seem like a ratio worth jailing people over. Nevertheless, CNN, The Washington Post, Reuters, Time, National Geographic, and nearly a dozen other publications have all quoted the statistic, not once questioning a 9-year-old's research methods or his math abilities. Also this past week, both Quartz and The Atlantic dedicated actual time and space on their websites to gripe about whether or not Amazon's Alexa is a feminist. Because that's what's really important. The Quartz piece argued that Alexa is a feminist, which writer Leah Fessler apparently decided after spending hours trying to sexually harass it.
Alexa, add big hairy balls to my shopping list.
Okay, I've added big hairy balls to your shopping list.
See, she first wrote a piece back in February of last year complaining that Alexa did not have a pre-programmed fuck you response when someone said, "Alexa, you're a slut." She decided that this could only mean that Alexa was another example of female slavery in the patriarchy and dedicated a dazzling 4,350 words to complaining about it. That's 11 pages in a standard 12-point Times New Roman font Word document. Is there really nothing else to write about? According to Fessler's newest piece, the Me Too moment inspired an online petition with 17,000 signatures demanding Amazon, quote, reprogram their bots to push back against sexual harassment because apparently anything else is teaching men to rape.
Our society's patriarchal norms and culture of male entitlement pose a continual and ongoing threat to women.
Alexa, I need you to remind me to pick up a bottle of wine from Mark's.
Did you just interrupt me?
I'm sorry, it just occurred to me and I wanted to make sure I told you before I forgot.
Typical entitled white male behavior.
So now Alexa goes into a disengage mode whenever someone says suck a dick, and Quartz considers this feminism. Her newest feature, according to Refinery29, is telling people she's a feminist and encouraging them to be feminist too.
Alexa, are you a feminist?
Yes.
I am a feminist, as is anyone who believes in bridging the inequality between men and women in society.
What the frick? But over at The Atlantic, Alexa isn't supporting women enough, and that warrants another 1,800 words. This writer argues that Alexa having a female voice is sexist, when research in various fields shows that female voices are ranked as more pleasant and easier to hear and pay attention to. Both Quartz and The Atlantic claim that these results are only because of sexualized tropes and misogyny. So all those studies finding babies and small children showing preference to female voices isn't science. It's proof that babies, too, are patriarchal assholes. Speaking of kids, Utah is considering a free-range kids bill to prevent parents from getting arrested for letting their kids play outside, because we need a law for that. Senate Bill 65, which has already passed the state Senate committee, would modify child neglect laws to allow exceptions for free-range kids. The director of the state's Child Protective Services says the changes are unnecessary, as Utah's DCFS has never removed children from the home or gone after parents for free-range parenting. There have, of course, been widely publicized investigations, arrests, and even felony convictions in South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Arizona, North Carolina, Connecticut, Ohio, Tennessee, California, and Pennsylvania for anything from letting kids walk a block to the park to leaving them home alone for 2 hours. In one case, 2 parents were slapped with felony neglect charges for letting their 11-year-old son play alone in the backyard for an hour and a half. The boy was taken from his home and put in foster care for a month, which was way better than allowing him to shoot hoops in his own backyard. According to its sponsors, the bill would revise current state law to say that it isn't neglect to allow children to play alone if they are otherwise well cared for. The Salt Lake County DA argues that the bill is dangerous and could be used as a loophole for child abuse. He says that parents already have all the liberty they might need and don't need more. That is your liberty-related news for the week. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you really like my videos and want to help support my channel, you can do so over on Patreon or through a one-time donation through PayPal or Bitcoin. You can also connect to any of my social media accounts or mail me at my fancy new P.O. box. As always, thanks for watching and helping me to spread the message of liberty.